Hey! Oh, I gotta fix this lighting. You know, that is the first thing you learn in soap operas is find your light.
Yes.
There we go.
Great. Look at that. It's amazing lighting. Is that natural lighting?
Yeah.
Okay. You got your coffee.
Mm-hmm.
Great. I've already had my 2 cups for the morning.
Yeah. Yeah, my teeth are getting slowly yellower and yellower in COVID-19.
You can't tell. You can't tell.
Hi, guys.
Hi. Thanks for tuning in, guys. You know what I'm doing right now is I'm actually pulling up my SAG-AFTRA contracts. I know we just talked about this because
you know they don't have the rate sheets. I already looked it up. I put in I emailed my manager Mitch Clem, and he was like, I already asked the agents. I was like, I want to know exactly what my contracts were, what was negotiated. We're gonna tell you all the nitty gritty.
Yeah,
I don't know if I'm allowed to be telling you guys this, but I don't care.
So that's the thing is there's no rules. There's no rules, you know, and so.
Soap operas don't follow the rules.
I have so much to talk about because there's not enough information out there about what people get paid, you know, and I think that it's important.
Or the conditions on set.
What?
Or the conditions on set.
Yes. So we have a lot to dive in today.
Yeah.
And for us now,
uncensored.
Yes, uncensored. Jen is here with me now. You have a lot of daytime TV under your belt.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about that because soaps are such a great way for actors to, you've said this before to me and it always stuck with me, how it's like the best acting school you could possibly have.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I want to talk a little bit more about that and why that is, like what makes it so different.
Sorry, it said low power mode. I'm going to actually.
Can you hear me?
Okay. Yep, I can hear you. Okay, it said low power mode, but I think we'll be fine. If it pauses again, I'm just going to get my cord, guys, and then the lighting won't be so good.
Don't worry.
Okay, I want to say a lot of things before we get into that, just to encourage people, because that's like, you know me, Ramani. That's my main thing. The first thing I will say is that when I first moved to LA, I moved here from Roanoke, Virginia, which is not the Lost Colony. I did not know anyone. Like, they have that 6 degrees of separation for Kevin Bacon. Like, mine was like 17 million degrees. Like, I did not know like somebody's dog in LA, you know? And I was told in casting director workshops, which I highly recommend also as launching your career. You know, I think those are legit. I know you do those, Ramani, and I think that the main thing is, as an actor, you just have to make sure that when you're looking at the brag boards that all the places have, that you are being smart, because some casting directors do it for the paycheck, but most of you guys, you know, you really want to find new actors and you need fresh talent. So if you look at the brag board and you'll be like, so-and-so got called in for Criminal Minds, so-and-so got called in for Criminal Minds, so-and-so got called in for Criminal Minds. That's how I got started. Actually, I think it was my first or second role. I got Criminal Minds through Erica before Ramani was working there. And I got a co-star and I had no agent. They called me in directly from the workshops. But anyway, my point is that when I took these workshops, I was actually told by 2 different casting directors to make sure that I never took a soap opera workshop because I was way too awkward and I was not pretty enough. So, and here I am, I could have still been on soaps now. So I'm just saying
really quick. Pause. I just want to quickly say that workshops are an amazing educational opportunity. They are not an opportunity for employment. They are educational. And I think that a lot of the insight that you were given through that workshop probably led to better auditions.
Led to all of my bookings.
Yeah.
Also, just knowing what you're doing now is that, you know, you demystify casting directors, your ass is on the line as much as ours are, you know, you have to find the person for the job. Yeah. And so if you go into your audition as an actor and you know that honestly, guys, when they're saying no, they're not saying no to you. They're saying yes to another person. I can't tell you how many jobs I've lost because, they wanted a brunette. And it's I can dye my hair. Yeah. Here's my headshot with a brunette. Yeah. It's a 20-minute process. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. But casting directors, I think I've learned so much information, even just how your office works and what you guys are looking for. And the idea that you want to book the room. You don't need to book the job. You need to book the office. So yeah. So there's that.
Yeah.
And they're so educational. I learned so much in them. But soap operas, totally different wild beast. Gosh, how I got involved in them, because again, I was told never ever to, you know, go down that road. I went in for General Hospital first, and it was with Mark Teschner, who's a brilliant, do you know Mark?
Yeah.
Oh, he's so lovely.
Like,
he loves actors. And I went in for him for this role, guys, that was like a contract role, and it was called Woman in White. And the description, first of all, they were like, yeah, it's called Woman in White. And, you know, I went to a really good school. And so that's just to say, like, I'm smart. Like, I had a career outside of acting if I had wanted it. But I was looking at this breakdown, and it was like a page long in all caps being like, she's powerful but vulnerable, and this, and ethereal but scary, and like every single thing. And I was so confused by the breakdown that I literally wrote out I got index cards, and I was like, maybe I don't know what these words mean, because like this breakdown doesn't make sense. I defined every single one, put them out on my floor, and was like, yeah, none of these match up. I went to coaching with Sherry Shaw. She's a great acting coach. I walk in, and like, she literally said, what the F is this? And I said, I was hoping I could pay you an outlandish amount of money for 45 minutes for you to tell me.
Yeah.
And she was like, okay. So she said, just make a choice. So I went into that audition in character, which I do not recommend, but I went to Target and I rented a dress, which is what I like to say, which means you keep the tags on it. Sorry.
I was like, I didn't know you could rent from Target. Okay.
You can't rent from Target, but I was poor. Okay. And so I went in, I rented my white dress, because I didn't own a white dress. Look at my skin. You think I look good in white? I do not. So I go in, I audition for it. I go in character, because I was like, whatever, I do comedy. Like, I've been told I'm never going to book a soap. It doesn't matter. I'm just going to go in character and like leave in character.
Yeah.
And I did. And Teschner down, and I lowered my voice like this, and I went in like this, and I walked out of the room. Like, he kept going up on his lines, and I would just stare at him and go, lift my eyebrow until he said the line. And then when I left the audition, I walked out and I said, so nice meeting you, Mark. Goodbye. And I backed out of the room staring at him. Okay. I left that audition. I did. I totally did. And I backed out of that, backed out of the audition like a psychopath. And so I called Mitch, my manager, and I said,
the wall, props to you there.
I said to my manager, I was like, he's like, how'd it go? And I said, you know, I went in and I did everything that Sherry and I discussed, and I either nailed it or I scared the ever-loving bejesus out of him, and he's never calling me in again. It's either or. Like, I don't know. I have no gauge.
Yeah.
And so Mitch called Mark, and Mark was like, oh yeah, it's really, I mean, she was interesting. And he was like, but listen, you know, let's call her back. Like if you see another, she wasn't right for this role, but like, call me back if you see something, and I promise I'll have her in. Yeah. So a couple months went by, and they needed a breakdown came out, and it was like, we need a girl who's like 5'2", 5'3", this amount, this weight, you know, blonde hair, can do comedy, walks fast, talks fast. And I was like, oh, that's me. So I saw it on the breakdowns, and I messaged Mitch, because you used to be able to get the breakdowns like illegally. Now they've like really cracked down on that. If anybody has a source, let me know.
No, yeah.
Romney knows nothing about that, but we all know about that. Anyway, there's no sources anymore. And so at the time, I was looking at the breakdown. I called Mitch and I said, yo, Teshi just released this thing and it totally fits me, and it's for a girl who's funny. So he called Teschner. I got their audition, and that was just supposed to be for like a 2-week role or whatever. And it was for Maxie, and I ended up getting it, which was crazy. And then the Woman in White role was supposed to be 4-year role, and it ended up being like 3 months, because everybody in the audience was like, what is that? And then Maxie was supposed to be like 2 weeks, and it ended up being a year and a half.
Everything is testable, by the way, because it's day by day episode. Like, you can test your audience and make decisions so much easier in daytime than you can in prime time. Just wanted to add that in.
Except for in Days of Our Lives, because they screwed themselves over because they're 6 months in advance. But, you know, coronavirus is going to help them with that, because I'm like, y'all, when I left, I talked to Deidre Hall. She said that they were a year in advance.
Are you? Anyway, that's, wow.
It's ridiculous. That's, I mean, like, it's bad for the ratings, because, you know, you don't like a pairing and then whatever. Yeah. And then I got Days after I left General Hospital. I got Days of Our Lives. And the thing is, guys, is when I went in for GH, I remember I got it. And while they were explaining to me what it was that I had just booked, these like interns came out of the woodwork, and I was literally standing there like, I wish you could see me. I was literally standing there like this, and they just kept stacking up like all these scripts on me. And then somebody else ran up and they said, don't overwhelm her. And they took the scripts from me. And I was like, and they were like, okay, come with me. And they took me down to this room and they said, okay, our video editor is actually going to get you the notes on this character. And like, she has had a heart transplant and it belongs to her dead cousin. And this is what happened. And this is what happened. This would happen. And I was like, okay. And they said like, are you excited? And I was like, yeah, no, I'm going to scream in my car. But right now I just need to try to like, wrap my head around like what you guys are saying. They're like, you start tomorrow morning at 6, you're going to go downstairs for an emergency fitting. And I was like,
my heart is
okay. And like my first day, I think I had like 40, 50 pages. And I was like, okay. And I'm replacing a character who's wait, what? They were like, yeah, they were like, so in soaps, you just, there's like this voiceover that happens and they go, they said, before I did my first line in every scene for 2 weeks, they'd go count to 10 in your head before you say your first line. And I'd be like, okay. So you say your line and you're like counting to 10 in your head and you're like, hey, Matt, or whatever, you know? And what's happening is when the episode airs, it'll go, due to the illness of Kirsten Storms, the role of Maxie Jones will now be played by Jen Lilley. And then you're like, hey, Matt, you know? And so the 10 seconds is to give them a voiceover. And then right before I left, I have to say these two things. Jill Farrenfeld's lovely woman. She was the showrunner at the time. She sits me down on our couch and she's like, don't worry. Everybody who's ever booked a soap is so nervous. Like, we know it's the hardest genre in television. And then she put her hand on my knee and said, however, this is the most critical time in our show's history. We're facing cancellation and the most critical time in this character's life. And I really need you to pull this off. And I was like, okay. So I'm in her dressing room the next morning. Kirsten, she's amazing. We're friends now. She's awesome. However, I'm sitting in her dressing room and like she was Xenon from Disney Channel. Like I knew who she was.
Yeah.
And she had this huge poster of herself. Like I wish you could see my whole body just like laying down. It was like a full-size body photo and it was over her couch and across from her where I'm looking is this mirror. So I have her all around me looking at me with the soap stare and I'm sitting in her room the next morning and I've memorized 40 pages and everything in a soap is one take. That's why it's really good training for actors. And there are no teleprompters. That's a lie. Oh, and they want you to be word perfect. And I'm sitting there and I was like, I can't do this. Like I almost went up to the 4th floor to Mark Teschner's office to be like, you know what? Number 2 or number 3 in the callback, they really want this. I think they could do it. I can't do this. And then they were like, Jen Lilley, you're needed on set. And I was like, that's how I got started.
Oh my God. So talk a little bit more about like the fast pacedness of it all, because I don't think actors realize that. And also like the why, obviously the why is the difference between daytime and primetime is that there's a new episode every day. I mean, that's insane. You think about all the prep that goes into a regular primetime TV show. We have 8 days of prep and 8 days of shooting.
It makes no sense.
Yeah. It works. People love it, you know, but like, what does that mean for the cast and crew? I mean, it's like it's insane.
Yeah, it's nuts. So, okay. So to break it down for people, you know, on your show, Romany, what do you shoot? Like 6 pages a day, 7 pages a day, 8 pages a day? If it's like
maybe that sounds like a lot, honestly. I don't know. Like that's not
exactly
even
exactly because you're an hour long, right?
Yeah,
usually. So an hour long, you're gonna have like maybe 8 pages, and that's an arduous day.
Yeah.
In soaps, you shoot 150 to 220 pages a day.
And
11 to 13 episodes a week.
And, you know, on the show, most of the shows that I work on, they're looking at 12 to 14 hour days for those 7 to 8 pages. And from what I hear, maybe you can debunk this, but from what I hear, it's usually like an 8-9 hour day on soaps.
So you go into set at 6 for girls because we need a little longer to process in hair and makeup. You do blocking from 6, you do morning blocking, which is the first 100 pages. You know, you do the morning block from 6:45 to 7:45. And when you're not in, you block your scenes. Like you might have 15 to 18 scenes in the morning. So you're going to block those with the casting, with the director, and you're writing down like you're blocking. And you're going over the notes with them, and they'll just be like, on this word, you move to here, and on this word, you move to here. And you're like, okay, got it. and then they move on, and then you go back to hair and makeup, and then if you're in like 3 more scenes, they do it by set. So like all the hospital sets done, then all of Teresa's apartment's done, then all of the church scenes are done, then all of the police station scenes are done. So you might have like 18 scenes in the police station if you're like convicted of a crime, and then you have 3 scenes in your apartment, you know, before the, you know, arrest happens. So you'll go back to hair and makeup, then they call you back out. So you have an hour of blocking in the morning, and then you're shooting from 7:45 to 12:45. Now 12:45 is your lunch break, but as I said, in like soaps don't follow the rules. So you get a lunch break, but you don't get a lunch break, and you can't complain about it, and they know you can't complain about it because they will fire you. And that's a union violation, but they'll fire you because you're replaceable. And so you just don't complain, because basically from 12:45 to 1:45, which is your lunch break, you're blocking the afternoon scenes. Yeah. And then you shoot the afternoon scenes from 1:45 to 4:45, which is 3 hours, the next 100 pages. And so in the afternoon, everything speeds up more. So if you're in the afternoon, you're going to go straight to camera. Sometimes they don't even have time to block you. Or they don't do a camera rehearsal, excuse me. So when you go out, you do blocking in the morning. Then when you do your scene, they do 1 rehearsal for camera if they have time. And then you do 1 take. And it's word perfect. So after the camera rehearsal, the stage manager will come up to you and be like, oh, you said in clandestine, and the word is clandestine. And you're like,
got it. Okay. Has there ever been a time where you've done more than 2 takes?
So many phone calls.
Has there ever been a time where you've done more than 2 takes?
More than 2?
Yeah.
I don't think ever more than 2. I've done 2 before, and that's very rare. But you would have like a royal screw up. Wow. And that's only if they really like you. Like I ended up, everybody liked me because you don't have craft service on soaps. And so I would bake pumpkin bread for the cast and crew, like 3 loaves a week or something. And everybody's birthday, I would bake them whatever they wanted. So yeah, the Jensen. I had some favorites because my mouth doesn't always work.
Yeah. I was going to say, I mean, like you're human. Like, of course you're going to have
they just make you work it into it. They just make you
pull it
off. And that's the other thing I'll say. If you have an audition for a soap, it's not that the acting is over the top. The acting is not over the top. They want you to be 100% grounded. It's that the stakes are so high that if you're tuning in, you would be like, wow, that girl is extra. No, she's not extra. Her baby just died.
Right.
So you have to play it real, but like you're playing it real, but the circumstances are wild.
Wildly high. Yeah. I know that's something that's why it's actually a really great place for us to find actors too. I mean, a lot of times there's like a misconception with soaps being like lesser than for whatever reason, but like a lot of incredible actors have come from soaps. Second of all, I mean, you know, minus the music and whatever, I mean that
the music makes it the worst. When I do my reels, I'm like, do you have any without music? I'm so sorry, but like it actually just ruined the scene.
Right. But if you take that, I mean, we're able to look past all of that. And if you just
think you are Romany.
But like if you're able to look past that stuff, like the things that the writers are throwing at these actors and what they are able to create out of it is hard work.
Yeah.
You know? And so I just think it's really interesting, and I that's why I wanted to talk about this, because one, actors don't realize how different the operation is, and 2, like it is such an incredible like exercise to go through. I mean, just talk about memorization alone. Like how do you memorize that many pages? Like, did you have
you forget things in life that matter. Like, don't ask me my state capitals anymore, because, you know, your brain is like a computer and it only has so much RAM. I was doing an IG live the other day with my son, Caden, who, you know, he's 4, and it was his birthday. So he wanted to make muffins. So I was like, okay, I'm going to IG live, make some muffins with him. And I'm like, all of a sudden he walks away and I'm like, look at my crap in the background. And I'm pulling out my fire extinguisher. And I was like, I was like, legit, I don't remember what this thing is called, because I suppose that when I
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that makes sense. But you must be like a master memorizer now. I mean, you could take, I'm sure. That's like,
it's like going to the gym. You know what I mean? Like at first I can't do 5 pounds, but then you can like do 40 after a while.
Yeah. So let's talk about how it works on soaps, because in prime time, we have, actors get paid per episode. And I know that in soaps, what's an average amount of episodes you would shoot in a day?
So we shoot 11 to 13 episodes a week. So 2 to 2.5 episodes a day.
I mean, just to again compare that, we're shooting like an episode every 8 days, so it's a week and a day, or no, sorry, it's 5 business days, so it's like a week and a half for one episode.
It's the best.
That's insane.
Yeah.
So let's talk about what that like payment looks like, because it's obviously, if you're going to get paid per episode, it's not going to be the same rates for us, because if you're booking a guest star on TV and if you're shooting 3 episodes in a day, then you could be getting paid like $24,000 a day.
No, you aren't. No, the starting rate is $10.50, which is $1,050 per episode.
Yeah, well, that's similar to what a co-star gets paid per episode. So that's
it's less than a co-star gets paid per episode in a primetime show. And here's the thing: the tax man will tax,
And just to be clear, what you're talking about is a series regular role.
I'm talking about a series lead. Yeah, series lead.
Yeah, that's what I want. I just make that clear.
An episode, and then the tax man comes and they tax you at 56%.
Why is that high?
Then that goes down to 500, but you're paying your manager 10%, which is 105, and then you're paying an agent 105. So now for that episode, you have made about $280 for memorizing 40 pages. Sometimes 86. I memorized 86 pages one night. And so it's like great because you're getting paid as an actor, but like not really. And then you might work a bunch and then you don't work. And so then the way you have to do it, you want to form a corporation. So that's called an S Corp. And you want to, so when you negotiate your contracts, for example, most contracts start at a minimum guarantee of episodes. So they'll say, I think all star episodes in soaps, they'll say, okay, you're going to start at $10.50 per episode, but you're guaranteed 1.5 episodes a week, which is 75 episodes a year. And so you can get paid that amount each week, which is like $1,500 a week. You're going to get paid. And so that's what I would do. I would get paid that each week. And then let's say I did 153 episodes that year. Then when my contract rolled around, which would be March, because that's when my contract started and they go on a year basis, in March, I would get paid the superfluous 78 episodes in bulk.
Oh, okay.
And then I would take that money and I would invest it. Like I invested one time, I invested in a cabin, and one time I bought a house, and one time I used that money to buy into a educational, business. Yeah. So you can, but otherwise, when you go on hiatus or holidays, you don't have money because you're not going to get paid for the weeks that you don't work. And on soaps, you're either like on the front burner or you're on the back burner. There is no, so if you don't budget well, you can't live like you're going to be making 28 episodes a month, because you're not going to be making 28 episodes a month, and you'll get yourself into some financial trouble real fast.
Yeah. Somebody said 56%. they were a bit shocked by that.
That's what I'm saying, because the government will act like that's what you make every week, but then they're not accounting for the fact that, yeah, I did 28 episodes this month, but next month I did 3. And so you just taxed me as if I'm making like millions of dollars a year, but really I'm making like 80 grand, which is great, but like,
yeah. So,
please.
Yeah. So that's all really, really good advice. And just to kind of talk about the corporation stuff, it's not that difficult to do.
No, get an accountant.
Yeah, and it's only like a personal decision, you know. I mean, if you're booking less, like maybe a job a month, you know, maybe.
I'm changing my life. I'm gonna plug my phone in. Keep talking,
okay.
Romany.
I don't know, you know, because there are fees involved. So it's
$800 a year here in the state of California, which I assume is where most people. This is so great. I love the IG Live because I'm like looking for my cord right now, my plug. Here it is. It's $800 a year here that you're going to pay in filing fees for the Secretary of State. So you have to just account for, you know, do you want to pay that $800 extra a year? But it's well worth it when you're looking at a tax bracket of 56% versus a more normal tax bracket of like, you know, 23 to 30%.
Yeah. And we can, in a second, I just want to talk about like pay on, for primetime too. So that this is something that actors, like they don't really have this information readily available to them, but you know, a lot of times actors get really excited by booking their first co-star job and they're like, oh, I'm going to join SAG now. And SAG is $3,000. And then they find out that they booked their first co-star job and it's $1,050. $1,000.
Yeah, as in $1,050.
Yeah. And by the time the agents managers get their percentage, you know, it's not a ton. And then basically what happens is
it's an expensive career.
It's an expensive career, but, you know, you hustle and you make things work for yourself. I mean, obviously you have, you know, your career has risen. And you know, things obviously all work together.
Yeah, it's just like any business though, you know, you have to invest in yourself.
Yeah.
It takes money to make money. You just have to be really wise about it. And, you know, gratitude, hard work, and showing up will get you ahead.
Yeah.
So many people just don't do what they say they're going to do. I mean, just do what you say you're saying you're going to do. People, especially in casting, they'll be like, well, I get called in for auditions that I know I have no chance of booking, but it's just because the casting director knows that I'm going to show up and give them an option. And sometimes I do end up booking because the people will be like, well, that was different, you know?
Yeah. But what I will say too is the second you start booking 2 to 3 co-stars under your belt, like you can, that rate can go up. That rate becomes negotiable for co-stars.
Yes. Let's talk about that with soap contracts.
So
you want to negotiate.
Yeah, negotiating power. You have negotiating power. Obviously, your agent has negotiating power. So many times we'll hire a co-star who has a good amount of co-stars under their belt, and we will pay them almost the same rate as a one-day guest star because they have that experience and because it's warranted. So it's, you know, sometimes you want to make sure.
You can also ask if you all as casting will let us put it as guest star on our resume.
Yes, 100%. And I personally do not care. And I know that a lot of casting directors care. So because
if it's top of show guest star, top of show co-star, and you have more than one scene, you can ask casting, hey, can I put this on my resume? I'm willing to work at a lower rate, which is what the producers care about. Yeah. But honestly, this was a bigger storyline. Can I put it as guest star on my resume?
Well, I'll say you can't make top show as a co-star. You can only make top of show as a guest star. But like if it's a bigger co-star role and it was kind of like on the cusp, just ask. And I don't care if it's one line co-star role. Don't anyone. You know the answer to that. Like your day will. And I've had that question. You know.
Yeah. I will say with soaps, a negotiating tactic that you want to know is that, like, when I did Days of Our Lives, I was offered 4 years from the get-go for Teresa. Okay. And so what we said was, no, we'll do 2. And we want to renegotiate after year 1. And it wasn't that I intended to necessarily leave. It's that you want to get those years. You don't want to be excited as an actor about the 4 years, because if you're on a soap, they're going to want your character back if you do a good job. Also, that 4 years means nothing. If the audience doesn't like you, your ass is gone. Like, sorry, they will write you out. There is a girl on our show who will remain nameless, who is an amazing actress, and I hope she succeeds. She memorized all of her lines at 11 at night, and she was like, hey, babe, because she was dating somebody from the cast, I didn't get a call. Like, I don't know, am I supposed to be in at 6:45, like morning call, or am I 7:45, like after blocking? He goes, he looks at his call sheet. By her character was another actress's name. They didn't even tell her that she'd been replaced. That's the kind of stuff that happens in soaps. So don't get wheeled in by the allure of 4 years. You want to negotiate those 4 years. That's the studio owning you. You want to take the power back as an actor and say, no, 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 no. You don't get 4 years of me. You get 1 year of me, or you get 2 years of me, and we're going to renegotiate my rate after 2 years. So on days, because I had General Hospital, I was like, I'm not working for $10.50. No way. I think I started at $13.50, maybe. I might have started at $12.50. Okay. I think I started at $13.50, and then by the time I left, I was at $14.50 or $15.50 an episode. And when I came back for the 13 weeks, I came in at $2,200 an episode.
Because let me tell you something real quick. Like, you know this, and this is something that I obviously know. If we want you enough, if we need you enough, that is negotiation. You know, it's I don't say this so that I can be taken advantage of.
Right.
But like, let's work together.
They have the money. The studios have the money.
To an extent. Believe it. Yeah. But like, and our job is to find the best actors with the budget we are given. So I definitely don't want to encourage actors to be like, heck yeah, I know what I mean. Like, you have to be realistic. But like, if
it's not our job anyway, that's our agent and managers to negotiate with you guys.
And I respect actors who are like, I really love this role. I love this studio. I love this showrunner. Thank you so much for thinking of me for this. But like, you say that you can't break top a show, and like, I'm at a point in my career where I don't work for top a show anymore. Like, and I have a lot of agents who say that, and I respect that. What I will say with that, and this is just a side thought, is like, we usually say in our avail checks, and sometimes we don't always say it in like our appointment details, but we try to give agents and managers the heads up as much as possible about the realistic parameters of our budget. So we don't make top show.
Totally.
It's a, you know, like I just worked on, and I'm not going to say too much about it because it's kind of private information, but I just worked on a Netflix series where it had a very different contract. And so the money, and so we had to be very, very, very upfront from the get-go, like no surprises. And like some agents were like, cool, he doesn't care about the money, he cares about the material, send him the audition. Awesome. Or so much for thinking of him for this, but like, we're not in that place in our career anymore. Cool. Like, just let me know, just communicate.
And it's a constant conversation with your agents. And I think as, you know, as an actor, you have to, you know, I love my agents. I have absolute respect for them. My manager, Mitch Clem, is the nicest man you have ever met, but he will make the ask for you, but he does it in a way because he's not an a-hole. Because to me, whoever represents me, I need them to do a good job and negotiate for me. But they're a representation of you, and I want to be Betty White. You know what I mean? I want everybody to be like, we love her. I don't want them to be like, oh God, I don't want to deal with her refs, you know? And
that
so
happens a lot.
I know, because I produce too, and you're like, what about this actor? And they're like, we will not deal with their management. And you're like, but she's so nice. And they're like, we will not deal with her management. However, I will say that you need to, as an actor, my representatives know, they joke with me all the time about it. But when I went into Stone Manors, and by the way I got, now they're called artists and reps, whatever, they rebranded. Artists and representatives used to be Stone Manors.
Representatives,
and when I went in for a meeting with them, Mitch is going to be like, my manager's going to be horrified that he told the story. I have to tell the story because it's such like an encouraging thing for actors. You're going to die, Ramani. I went in and I had booked General Hospital. And so that's how we got the appointment with artists and reps. And Mitch, who's my manager, has like a million clients with them, by the way. So his ass is on the line, you know, like he's putting his neck out for me. By the way, the night Mitch signed me, he was up in his bed and he was just staring there in his bed. And his wife teaches school, and she was like, I'll get back to the Stone Manor story. but his wife teaches school, and he was like sitting there in his bed. This is my favorite story. I'm his favorite client, by the way. I hope he's watching, but he knows it's true, and his clients know it's true. Anyway, he was watching directly ahead, staring at the wall, and his wife was like, "What are you doing, you psycho? Like, are you gonna go to bed?" And he goes, "I just signed to this girl named Jen Lilley today, and I can't figure out whether I'm absolutely in love with her or absolutely terrified of her. And it's either the best or the worst decision I ever made as a rep." So that's the backstory to us going to Stone Manors. So I have a meeting with them because I booked General Hospital, and the 2 girls that I beat out were Stone Manors clients. And so Mitch goes in and he's like, tells me ahead of time, he goes, "Just so you know, they never make an offer in the room. Like, I know that you think that's what you're going to get." Oh, because Mitch made an offer in the room. I had no other appointments. But I said, "Oh, you know, I'll have to get back to you on Thursday. I have a couple more meetings with some other managers," because they can smell your desperation, guys. Yeah. So I didn't have other appointments. So he's like, "You know, Stone Manors is not going to make an offer in the room." I was like, yeah, okay. So he's like, "Please don't embarrass me." And I was like, "Okay, yeah, whatever." Well, okay. I always tell actors to sit with their backs on their chairs, because in auditioning and stuff too, like when you go like this, it makes you vulnerable. When you go like this, it makes you look powerful. And you do very little talking, which is clearly hard for me. Yeah. And so they make an offer in the room. And I said, "Oh, that's awesome, guys, but Mitch and I will have to talk about it." And I, out of the peripheral of my giant eyeball, saw Mitch go. We go in the parking lot. He was like, "Why did you do that? We don't have other appointments. I told them that if they wanted to sign you, that you would sign with them." And I was like, "Well, maybe I don't want to sign with them, you know?" Yeah. And he was like, "What?" And I was like, so I said to them in that meeting, I was like, "I just need to make it clear from the get-go, like, if we're going to work together," I said, "let's do a football analogy. I own the team. Mitch is my quarterback, and you guys are my players, and I can draft you out at any moment." Because they work for you. Like, they get 10% pre-tax commission. It is not okay if they're not excited about you. Like, you don't have time for that manager.
I say that to actors a lot.
They need to be excited about you guys. You have something to bring to the party.
Yeah, totally. Did you tell that was a Stone Manor story? I didn't miss it, right? I'm like so invested.
That was my Stone Manor story. And they love me to this day. But I mean, I remind them sometimes. I'm like, "How are we doing, guys?" Because I mean, it's football season.
Oh my God, I love it. No wonder they're terrified of you.
No, they love me. I always sign it like I'm like, "Your favorite client."
And Lilley, guys, everyone leave the office. The darts are coming. Just kidding. What was I gonna say? Oh, man. Okay. So talking about, negotiating power. So that's kind of how we got back on all of this. And somebody just said, and I kind of answered this earlier, but someone just said, "So if you have a few co-stars under your belt, like, can I negotiate for my co-star rate?" Yes, you can. Don't expect it. And usually, I mean, not usually, if they're not going to give it to you, usually it's because there's a precedent that they can't break, and we can't. It's like the rate that we're given. So always ask.
Yeah. And if the answer is no, then just, "Okay, thanks."
Yeah. So let's talk about film, whether it's a made-for-TV movie or a studio format or an independent film. Every film has its own SAG contract depending on the budget. You know, so that's kind of just like the blanket statement. Yeah. I have worked on some movies. I've worked on some indies. I've worked on some studio films, and there's obviously different rates for everything. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about MOWs and like what those rates typically look like. I think that's something that a lot of people don't know about.
So MOWs, if you don't know, stand for Movies of the Week. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I think the bottom line, and you kind of touched on it, Ramani, is that you should read the material, or at least read the first 14 pages or so to see if you're interested, because I've done Movies of the Week for way lower than I would ever work, but it's because I really liked the material and I wanted it for my reel. You know, it was like, I want to do that. I'm not really doing anything these 2 weeks. Some of them shoot like 2 weeks, and you know, it's like, I really like this. Also, like, there might be an amazing cast attached.
Okay, so before we run out of time, because I know there's like so much to cover.
I know.
Talk about you personally, because one, you are such to your society and have done so many incredible things since working on days, since working on, you know, anything. I mean, you've been doing this before you were, honestly. And arguably you're doing the coolest thing that you've ever done right now.
Yeah.
It's like, it's incredible. So talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Okay. So this is exciting for me to announce to actors. So it's so cool. Guys, it's so cool. All right. So it's COVID friendly, which is amazing because I've been working on it for like 6 months, and who could have anticipated this other than Bill Gates? Just kidding. Just kidding. So I'm hosting an online talent search talent contest that's called Voices That Give. And it's for artists of all genres and experience levels. So you can be non-union, SAG, SAG-E, doesn't matter. We're going to comply with union rules. Being non-union or union will not disqualify you like it does in casting. And there's a whole category for actors. It's free to enter. It's called Voices That Give. It's free to enter. The grand prize is $10,000 cash, which is amazing. We could all use that. National media coverage. So like People Magazine, Entertainment Tonight, like all of them are covering it. And then there's going to be category specific career prizes. So there's musicians can enter, actors can enter, dancers can enter, unique or hidden talent, like all these categories can enter. Let's say a musician wins. The musician's going to get the $10,000 in the press and whatever the musician prize is, but the actors, regardless of the grand prize, are still going to get $500. Then they also get a meeting with my talent manager, Mitch Clem, who is from Oklahoma, small town, and like is just like me, like wants to help people, legit wants to help people. He is the most amazing manager ever. Like I will send him sometimes my friends and I'll be like, as a favor to me, you're the quarterback. You need to submit my friend and pitch them. And he will because he loves me. And I'm just like, look, I need my friend to like, at least this casting director has to know my friend exists. And then on that note, you get a mentorship with me. And like, if you can't tell, I'm super pro artist. So this is a legit competition. We really do want to help actors, but here's what's even more awesome about it is that it's free to enter for you, but there is a fundraising element that goes into the second phase of it. And 100% of the profits are going to children in foster care because I am a foster and adoptive parent. And that's a huge problem here in the United States. And so we're raising money for charity in order to give orphans and children in foster care here in the United States safe, loving, stable homes. It's awesome. It's free to enter. It's called Voices That Give. And actors also get a walk-on role in a Hallmark movie with me. So meeting with my manager, mentorship with me, walk-on role on Hallmark Channel. And then if they win the grand prize, they also get national press and $10,000. So free to enter. What do you have to lose? And you lend your voice to kids in foster care.
People are asking about the age requirements.
13 or older.
Okay. And you had talked a little bit about, sorry, I was going through some of the questions, so sorry if you already answered this, but there's a Hallmark movie fan option, right?
Yeah. So if you are watching this and you're a Hallmark fan, much to the platform's dismay, because they were like, but it's a talent contest. And I was like, yeah, I know, but like I have this whole category of Hallmark fans and I kind of just want to be able to give them like a lovely gift since they're giving back to children just by participating. So there is no talent required for Hallmark fans. All they have to do is make a quick video that says why they love Hallmark and what it would mean to them to win. We're not judging theirs based on like video quality or anything like that. And it's just you upload a YouTube link to just go to Jen Lilley, which is JenLilley. The link is in my Instagram.
Yeah,
but I have all sorts of stuff on it.
It's so a lot of people are saying how to enter. It's a website, and
I'll put the link right here. I mean, the easiest way to do it is just to go to my website because I have all the info. Mm-hmm. But I mean, that's my website, and then if you want to go directly to the contest, like you're like, oh, I already know I want to sign up.
Yeah.
And you go to this. Yeah. I hope I have double chins right now, by the way, while I'm typing.
We can't see anything.
Okay.
I just want to put that out there because I think that, it's just I think it's incredible what you're doing I mean, talk about what you're wanting to accomplish with this. Like, what's your end goal with the fundraising money?
Yeah, I mean, other than helping other artists launch their career, because I do know how hard that is. And I know, like, especially if you're a musician, I mean, my God, like that industry, you think acting is hard.
Oh,
Music
I know.
is like nuts.
Yeah.
So we actually want to help you. But my end goal is, besides that, is that 100%. So it goes to helping kids in foster care. And what I want to do is I want to build a neighborhood here in the United States where each of the houses is filled with parents that are like me and my husband, who actually care about the kids, who are committed to restoring that child with love, safety, and stability, coming alongside their birth family and loving them well through the process, hoping that that birth family gets it back together. And when that's not possible and when that's not healthy for the children, that their heart is open toward adoption. So I've adopted my son Caden through foster care. His little brother, we're in the process of adopting. And then we have our daughter, Julie. And then we also have a 21-year-old now who's super awesome, which is crazy. I have a 21-year-old, but
yeah, I mean, and as you say, which just, my mind just goes, so that's amazing. I mean, obviously, you know, we have the time to do these things, and a lot of actors are working on their self-tape setup right now. So it's just another form of exercise, but also
I'm reading the comments, any
yeah.
talent. So there's a whole category that's called unique or hidden talent. And that's because I think everybody was created on purpose and for purpose with something to bring to the party, like I said earlier. So like whatever your talent is, you can enter. And I was like even joking. I'm not even joking, but I'm joking, but I'm not joking. Like if you're like, dude, I'm the world's worst baker, fine. Like make that your special skill. Like if you make people laugh enough, you could win $10,000. Like we're gonna vote for you just because like we're gonna be like, that's hilarious. I want to see more of that each week. You know, it's like American Idol elimination style starting in June. Whatever.
That's amazing.
You're gonna help kids, and it's free to enter. So what do you have to lose? And what are you doing right now anyway? There are no jobs.
Oh, I know. Hopefully that will.
Hopefully that will just
be a great way to be creative and help the world. You know, and help kids.
Use your voice, help some kids just by participating. It's so cool.
Instagram is sometimes I'll take questions at the very end and it'll hang up on me. So instead of doing that, I'm just going to say thank you.
Okay. Yes, registration is open now. You can submit you just have to make a YouTube video. Okay. And you can submit it anytime by May 31st. May 30th. And again, jenlilley.com. I have all the info, but it's called Voices That Give. There's an Instagram account for it. There's a link in my bio. And you can also download, I don't have TikTok and I'm not going to get TikTok. Don't get your hopes up. I don't have time for it. I have 4 kids. But you can download a TikTok video and then you could, it's annoying. It's an extra step, but you can upload it to YouTube and you can submit that even. So it can be like something that already exists.
Yeah. Right. Oh, that's good to know. So you don't actually have to go and create something. It can be something that.
Not at all. It can be an old video. It can be your acting reel. It can be you singing. It can be you baking with your kid and you're like, dude, I have America's Funniest Home Video. Like, here's my kid. Like,
that's really good.
Fine. You can make us laugh. Whatever.
Yeah. Okay. So that makes it even easier, you guys, as you don't even have to create something. It can be something that you've already done. Well, what an amazing idea. Seriously. Thank you for doing this for artists. Thanks for doing it for the kids. And I'm excited I want to be able, how can I watch some of them?
What?
Can I watch?
Yeah. So starting in June, starting in June, all of the videos are going to be on the website and it will be open to public voting. Okay. And so it's really fun. That's what I'm saying. Like if you have a really bad talent, like if you make people laugh, you could win $10,000.
Yeah. That's awesome. We'll have to check that out.
Yeah.
Thank you. Chat. I don't know how you do it, but you're amazing. And this information, I think, really insightful for actors on soaps and money and things like that. So we'll post this later onto IGTV. And we'll have information later. So yeah, we can relive this as many times as we want.
Amazing. And also very scary.
I know. I'll be watching.
a filter option. Are you kidding? Guys, look how amazing I look with that filter. I should have done that the whole time.
Wait a second. Now I need to try this.
Can you believe it? We could have been buddies the whole time, guys.
People tend to screenshot these, so now I think we need to do a funny one.
Okay.
Okay, ready?
Oh.
There you go.